First, I want to say welcome to Maverick Living, where we talk about all kinds of things that may not be a normal conversation. We have a lot of ideas that are outside the box, but mostly I want this information to be very helpful. One of the problems we're facing right now in our country is uh, I don't know that it's a housing shortage. I think we have tons of houses. I think the problem is people obtaining a house, affordable housing. So I wanted to give you a suggestion. There's a lot of subsidized housing. There's a lot of government housing. There are those kinds of options for people in low income levels and so forth. But I just want you to consider something. Very few of you are familiar with the RV world. Most people think of it as, camping, and then, you may know somebody who lives in an RV full time, travels around the country, stops at different places. But what most people don't know is that most RV parks throughout the country have long term stay. So, for example, there are a lot of people who work remotely or contract nurses, for example, who basically live in an RV and they have it delivered to the RV park near wherever they are working under contract, and they live in that and commute to work just like anything. But that's one of the things that people do. But here's something I experienced. A lot of RV parks now have park models. They've had some of them have had it for decades. But a park model is basically just a small house. Usually it's in the form of like a mobile home. And it's kind of permanently parked on one of the RV sites. Typically, they have a separate area set aside for these park models where they have, several of them together. It kind of builds a little community. But it's typically used by snowbirds. They will buy one for them to use in the winter, and they'll come down south to the RV park and stay in the house, for the winter, and then go back home. And they pay for these things every month, including the lot rent and so forth. And there are adjustments. Many times RV parks will make stipulations for that, where, if you're not living in the house using amenities and all that, then, they'll lower the lot rent or whatever. But if you're looking for affordable housing and you're a couple starting out with either a baby or no children, or you're single, as I was, you need to consider the possibility of living in an RV park, because it's not only a very economical option, but it's also a lot of fun. I mean, frankly, if you live in an RV park, when the snowbirds come, the place is full, and there's people just looking for, friendship, and you can play pickleball and bocce ball with people. I'll show all that later. The amenities and the activities are just amazing. And but if you're a long-term resident, in other words, you own a park model and you live there permanently, as I did. I lived for a couple of years. You become, first of all, part of the community of RVers that also are living there long-term or full-time. There are a lot of retired people who, that's basically the only way they can afford to have a home. And when they're single, it's not a problem at all. And it's a whole lot less house to clean and everything else. So the gist of it is this: RV parks have these lots available with houses sitting on them. They're using a lot of tiny houses now, but you'll see the difference in the video here, where the tiny houses are basically like 2 floors. The bedroom is usually up in the loft. Well, for older people, that's not a good idea, because first of all, negotiating steps is tricky. But having to come down from the bedroom to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, if you're an elderly person, particularly an elderly man, you're going to make that trip several times a night maybe, and that's dangerous. But a park model is typically, I mean, a true park model. I mean, I know there's definitions here. You know, a park model is a small house, but it's, to me, it's not the same as a tiny house. These tiny houses are literally that, and like I said, they have 2 floors. Now, if you're a young couple and you really like the tiny house thing, fine, go for it. It's great. But for elderly people, they prefer these park models. So I'm suggesting to you that you first consider a park model because A, everything is on the ground level, and B, it usually has more room inside. It's not so tiny. I mean, these things can be 14 wide and 60, 70, 80, not 80, 60 or 70 feet long. And then you also have, usually on park model, you have the side room. You have the lanai or sunroom or whatever you want to call it on the side. And many of them also have a deck in the back or on the side or somewhere. So, a park model has a lot more to offer. It's kind of like a downsized house. But anyway, I'm going to show you the one I lived in, and I'll show you the ones that are available at this particular RV park. But the point is, you buy a park model and you only pay lot rent. Now, I'm going to tell you up front that lot rent is a big issue on all of this. And so I'm going to give you some tips about that. But let me explain. Right now, there are a lot of big corporations, whatever, buying up RV parks because they can make a lot of money. And typically first thing they start doing is jack up the lot rent. They found that with RVers, if you jack up the lot rent very far, they ain't going to come back because they don't have to. That's the issue. But anyway, the real issue is, what do you get for your money? The park model I lived in, the lot rent covered everything but electricity. I mean, it covered water, sewer, cable, trash pickup every day. You just put the trash out front and they pick it up. It included, of course, all the amenities. I could go to the pool, do whatever I wanted to do. The only thing it didn't include, of course, was electricity, because, that's a variable thing. It depends on how much you use and all that. And so, the only utility bill you have is electricity. The park model is all the landscaping. They mowed my lawn, edged it, weed-eated it, and, did all of that sort of stuff. And so it's an interesting option that I think, if you're looking for an affordable house and you don't need a lot of space right now, and frankly, with some couples with both working, a big house is a lot to maintain. It's a lot to clean. It's a lot to cool. It's a lot to heat. So, this is an option that a lot of people are not aware of. So I'm going to give you the run through here, and you can see the park that I lived in and what it offers. And of course, this park calls itself a resort. Usually a resort is one that's more fancy. It has, more amenities, more decor. But it applies to any park anywhere in the country. So wherever you need to live, and something to look into. Okay, because my park model did not cost me very much at all, about the price of a car, and the lot rent at the time I bought it was $550. It's up to about $6 something now. But if you want to if you had significant money saved up for down payment on a house, obviously you could probably go buy a house. But if you're not sure that's what you want to do, you could pay cash for a park model, and then your only expense is the lot rent. But again, it covers a lot of the things that you're not going to have to pay, the utility bills and stuff, and you don't even have to buy a lawnmower. So just look at this video. I've got some segments here that shows the different options and things, and then I'll get back to you at the end. Okay? All right, take a look. Ocala North RV Resort that we are visiting, but there are many, many others like it. This is just one example that I'm familiar with because I lived here for a couple of years. Here are a couple of tiny houses in this RV park that are for sale as a permanent residence. So that's one option. This is a park model that I lived in until I sold it. I lived here a couple of years and had a lot of fun, a lot of peace and quiet. And it's a nice little house. It's 1 bedroom, 1 bath with a whole lanai on the side that runs the length of the house for sitting outside or in the sunroom. And it has a deck on the back. You can sit outside in a big shed to store everything in. So it was a pretty nice place to live, and as you can tell, it's in a nice atmosphere with all the vegetation, and the office was right over there behind it, so that was convenient. So this is another angle on my park model. See, there are a whole section of park models. These are older homes, but they're in excellent shape. They've usually all been remodeled, and this one here I know is for sale. So there's lots of options. The pool in the clubhouse right there. Right, as far as entertainment or activities, there is a swimming pool. You can see right there. The clubhouse is adjacent to it, where there's bingo and parties and celebrations and dancing and all kinds of activities. There's a pickleball courts back there. There is bocce ball courts, and then right here is shuffleboard, as well as a picnic area under the trees to eat. So just a quick panorama. This RV park has, as you can see, very many old trees and lots of grass. It's well landscaped. It's really a beautiful place to live. And there's the pool and the clubhouse again. There's a huge dog park back there. And as you can see in the front, there's a fire pit. And it's adjacent to the pond. And in the background there is the workout building where all the exercise equipment is. And then there is the office. This particular RV park is out in the country. It's rural, so it has its own deep well, and you can see the tank there over the fence and the pump house to the left. What that means is your lot rent here includes water, and this RV park also has its own sewage plant for the same reason. So when you pay lot rent, a lot of places you get nothing but a place to park. But in some places like this, it includes your water, your sewer, and cable, and many other things, but usually never covers electricity because that's an unknown amount. But anyway, this place has water and sewer provided, and so that's a big plus because it saves you money and an extra bill you have to pay. Just want to throw a note out there. If a park model doesn't work for you and you or can't find the setup that you want or whatever, you might want to consider looking into a fifth wheel RV itself. Because if you haven't looked at RVs lately, you will be surprised at the luxury and all of the stuff that's in those fifth wheels. I mean, they have 5 slide out, some of them, and it gives you lots of room. They got all the latest appliances in there, big screen TV, a whole entertainment room. You can put the whole family in there, watch TV or watch movies. Yeah, they have some incredible fifth wheels available. And you don't have to have a great big truck to move it or to tow it, because when you buy it from the dealer, they'll deliver it to the RV park you choose. And since you're not going to be moving for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, whatever, you don't need a big old gas guzzling truck to drive around every day. There are traveling nurses who live in fifth wheels. It gives them the luxury and a nice place that they want to live in. And there's one in the RV park that I lived in that she had a great big old truck towing this fifth wheel. And she's a little bitty girl. It was kind of funny to watch, but she loved it. And of course, when her contract ran out and she had to renew a contract somewhere else, she would just hook it up and take off. But you can still, even if you decide to change to a different RV park, or for some reason you have to relocate because of a job, you can hire people that will pick it up and move it for you. It's not free, but it's a lot cheaper than buying a truck. So I would recommend, if you haven't looked, you need to go to an RV dealer, look at their fifth wheels, and see what they have, because it's amazing, and you will probably be blown away when you see them. So anyway, that's another option that is available to you, and I just wanted to sort of tack that on here for you to go see them, because I don't want you to miss out. Okay, gang, well, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope that it give you something to think about. And if you have any questions, put your comments below, and just keep subscribe to our channel so that you'll keep up whenever there's a new video coming out with helpful information. You'll be notified, because, like I said before, I'm not going to do this every day or every week. It's just whenever. I mean, it could be 2 or 3 a week, but I'm just saying there's no schedule, so you just need to be notified when there's one out here. So anyway, I hope this was helpful to you, or someone you know who needs a place to live that they can afford, and at the same time have a lot of fun doing it, and in many cases get a lot of peace and quiet, in a really nice. I think it's much better than a typical subdivision where you got neighbors and all, but nobody knows each other, and it's just not the same thing. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed it, and we will be back later with more.